brands that will say they got 30% or partially biodegradable. If it's partial, the other part of it is still plastic. When it goes into landfill, that breaks down to microplastics. So if you've got a plastic wipe and you're wiping stuff down with it, you are leaving a trace of microplastics on the surface, and we've seen those tests. Episode 1 of Clean Your Choices start here.
Looking forward to it, Phil.
Let's talk about wipes.
Tell me, Phil.
Explain them.
I want to know more initially. What makes a wipe plastic free?
Well,
actually, I'm going to just interrupt there. Couple of packets of wipes here. We've got one that is plastic free.
Yep.
Nice white looking wipe. Another one here that contains plastic.
That looks white as well.
Pretty damn similar.
Yeah.
What's the Australian public meant to do about this? How are they going to work it out?
It's a really good question because you don't know unless you actually delve into it deeper. So it all comes down to the fibre. All wipes are made of a non-woven fabric, and the non-woven fabric doesn't always mean it's plant-based. So it can be, the difference with a plastic wipe is it's got polyester in it. There are brands that will say they've got 30% or partially biodegradable or plant-based, which means if it's partial, the other part of it is still plastic. When it goes into landfill, that breaks down to microplastics. A plant-based material is 100% plastic-free, if it's 100% plant-based. So that wipe there that you showed, our COVID Clean, is a 100% plastic-free, plant-based wipe. There's no plastic fibres in that at all, zero. In the wet ones, that is definitely got polyester, and it states it on there because you'll find these days the brands that have got a plant-based or plastic-free option will list it on the packaging. And there are a couple of ways you can test it. Not that I'd recommend at home to do that, but there's sort of images of me in the past burning wipes in the lab.
I think I've seen those images.
That's exactly where it's at. If you essentially, a plastic-free wipe is something that is made with zero plastic. Now, interestingly, I was in a conversation not long ago with someone overseas, and they were telling me in Asia that you can have 10% plastic in the wipes over there and they can still pass the terminology of being plant-based, or biodegradable, they should say, which is misleading. But in Australia, we don't actually have a biodegradable standard. We have a compostable standard. But they definitely, from us as a manufacturer, will make the claim about plastic-free because, hand on heart, we know that materials are all plastic-free.
Lab testing done.
All that lab testing. We've gone and spoken with our manufacturers of the non-wovens and the fibres, and in fact, we have a say of size of the fibres that are in the product, the length of them, because that all makes a difference to the property of the product, essentially.
So ultimately as well, important for the consumer, a plant-based wipe can then break down in compost?
Correct. And the thing is too, where people have to understand this, is that if it's not plant-based and it's plastic or polyester, it essentially comes from a petrochemical background. And so petrochemical items are the same things that you have with certain plastic wraps, plastic hard covers. Now, there are recyclable plastics, but that doesn't take away from the microplastic issue. So if you've got a plastic wipe and you're wiping stuff down with it, you are leaving a trace of microplastics on the surface, and we've seen those tests. If you're using a plant-based item, when you wipe that down, you'll leave a viscose or a bamboo or a wood pulp or whatever the fibre is on the surface, which breaks down. There's no hazards in actually that coming in contact with people versus microplastics, which they absorb into lungs. And that brings up things with petrochemicals, it brings up the conversation about PFAS chemicals and all those sorts of things.
So it does seem bizarre that in Australia, we're still selling plastic or wipes that contain plastic when plastic-free options are available, especially considering the UK's banned, the use of plastic in their wipes.
And it's funny, we had this conversation with so many people after COVID where even in hospitals, doctors and nurses using wipes hourly had no idea that those wipes were plastic. Like you're like getting a piece of polyester and wiping down the surface. Everyone thought they were cotton. That's not the case. But what you do know the difference is that a plant-based material will break down in landfill within 90 days. That's normally the standard. That is a global one, which brings into that biodegradable classification. Whereas a polyester wipe will take hundreds of years. That's the big issue we've got. They find their way into the atmosphere, into soils and all this microplastic issue, which is a real one at the moment. So
Great.
that's how you can actually tell the difference. But if you are picking up that pack again like you did, this one versus that one, you probably need to read the packaging and not just smell the smell and go, it looks the same. And you can do that sort of thing, and you can see sometimes plastic is a little bit stronger and tougher, but the fibre itself, the real trick is, if I was to take this to the laboratory, well, when I showed that image is up there now with when I was burning it, this burns and chars and these burn and melt. And that's where the plastic is, and that just sort of creates that plastic residue, which is not nice, and the smell. If you've got any questions on that, put your questions below. Would love to answer those. Happy to get into that conversation. We are up for the conversation anytime, anywhere.